Have you ever noticed that the scary dog in a movie is almost always black? Think about it for a second. The snarling Rottweilers sent from hell to protect the Antichrist in The Omen. The skinless Doberman abominations in the Resident Evil franchise. And who could forget the Grim, a spectral omen of death, haunting the world of Harry Potter. This isn't just some lazy coincidence. It's a deliberate choice, a cinematic shortcut to create an instant feeling of menace. Hollywood is drawing on centuries of superstition, and it turns out, this trope has devastating real-world consequences. To understand why we're so quick to judge a dog by its fur, we need to look beyond the silver screen and into the shadows of history itself. Before we get started, consider subscribing to our pet-loving community for more black dog myth debunking, pet adoption behavior that fuels the need for pet advocacy. In movies, color is everything. It's a powerful and immediate tool that directors use to make us feel happy, sad, or scared, often without us even realizing it. And when you want to signal danger, nothing works quite like the color black. It's the color of night, the unknown, the void. So when you apply that to an animal with sharp teeth, the effect is instantaneous. We've been conditioned to see a black dog, a Rottweiler, a Doberman, some nameless shadowy hound, and feel a primal sense of threat. Take the hellhounds in the 1976 classic, The Omen. They're demonic guardians, and their black coats aren't an accident. They're a visual symbol of their satanic purpose. Interestingly, there are reports that the original script called for German shepherds, but when trained dogs couldn't be imported to England for the shoot, Rottweilers were chosen instead, forever cementing the breed's menacing reputation. The movie, Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, released in the UK in 1977 and the US in 1978, features a vampiric Doberman Pinscher, another breed often typecast as a villain. Even in animation, this trope holds. The lead Doberman in Disney Pixar's Up is a sleek black predator. The vicious hounds used by the sadistic Ramsay Bolton in Game of Thrones are dark and terrifying. This isn't to say every black dog in media is evil, but when a director needs a quick shorthand for aggression, a black dog is the easy choice. Their dark fur can make their facial expressions harder to read on camera, hiding their eyes and making them seem more soulless or unpredictable. This visual ambiguity plays right into our fear of the unknown. Even movie titles use this trick. The 1998 action flick starring Patrick Swayze is simply called Black Dog. While the dog itself isn't the main villain, the title was chosen to evoke a sense of grit, danger, and menace. But what happens when the scary dog isn't black? Let's talk about the 1983 horror classic, Cujo. The film, based on Stephen King's novel, is about a gentle, loving Saint Bernard who turns into a rabid monster. The filmmakers deliberately chose a breed known for being sweet-tempered, gentle giants to make its transformation even more horrifying. The story plays on the terrifying idea that a beloved family pet could become a deadly threat. Now imagine if Cujo had been a black dog from the start. The psychological terror of a good dog gone bad would have been lost, replaced by the simple, predictable trope of a scary-looking dog acting scary. The story's power comes from that contrast, which only highlights how deeply ingrained the black dog as villain stereotype really is. By choosing a Saint Bernard, the filmmakers forced the audience to confront the horror of the situation itself, rather than lean on a pre-existing bias. This constant portrayal has created a powerful, subconscious association in our minds. It's a form of typecasting for an entire group of animals, with a narrative that started long before movies were ever invented. Comment below and tell us what you think about how black dogs are portrayed in movies. We want to hear from you. So, where did Hollywood even get this idea? The answer is that filmmakers are tapping into a deep, dark well of human folklore that is centuries old. The black dog as a supernatural entity is one of the most persistent myths across the globe, especially in British folklore. These aren't just regular dogs. They are spectral hounds, often unnaturally large, with glowing red or yellow eyes. The earliest literary accounts of these creatures date back to 1127, where the Peterborough Chronicle describes a hideous hunt with black hounds that had eyes like saucers. In nearly every English county, there's a local legend of a phantom black dog, each with its own name: the Barghest, Padfoot, the Yethhound, and of course the Grim. Perhaps the most famous of all is the Black Shuck of East Anglia. One of the most terrifying accounts comes from the town of Bungay in 1577. During a violent thunderstorm, a monstrous black dog is said to have materialized inside St. Mary's Church. It ran wildly through the congregation, killing 2 people who were kneeling in prayer and badly burning another before it vanished. Stories like this cemented the black dog in our cultural imagination as a harbinger of doom, a manifestation of a storm's fury, or even an envoy of the devil himself. These mythical creatures are often tied to places of death and transition, such as crossroads, graveyards, and ancient paths. The legend of the Church Grimm, found in both British and Scandinavian folklore, tells of a guardian spirit that protects a church and is often believed to be the spirit of a black dog that was sacrificed and buried on the grounds. While a protector, it was still a feared entity, a link between the physical and spiritual worlds. These myths were so pervasive that they inspired classic literature, like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hound of the Baskervilles, which drew from legends of ghostly hounds on Dartmoor. It's also worth noting the dual meaning of the black dog. The term was famously used by Winston Churchill as a metaphor for his struggles with depression. However, the phrase predates him and was used by figures like Samuel Johnson in the 1700s to describe melancholy. In this sense, the black dog is an internal demon. But in folklore and on screen, it's almost always an external threat. When a movie shows us a snarling black dog, it's not just an angry animal, it's activating a switch deep in our cultural memory, a fear passed down through generations of ghost stories. This isn't just about scary stories and movie villains. This ancient superstition, amplified by modern media, has a heartbreaking real-world impact known as black dog syndrome. For years, shelter workers and rescue volunteers have reported that black dogs are frequently the last to be adopted and, tragically, the first to be euthanized. However, the conversation around black dog syndrome is very complex. While the term gained popularity in the early 2000s, recent statistical studies have produced mixed results, with some finding that coat color has no significant effect on adoption times, and others suggesting black dogs are actually adopted more quickly in some areas. Despite the conflicting data, many shelter workers maintain they witnessed this bias firsthand. So, what's going on? One of the biggest factors is simple visibility. In a dimly lit kennel, a black dog can easily become a formless shadow, making it hard for them to stand out and make a connection with a potential adopter. This problem gets worse online. Many adoptions start with a photo, and black dogs are notoriously difficult to photograph well, as their dark fur absorbs light and hides their expressive eyes. A profile with a bad photo is easily scrolled past. Then there's the direct impact of the media we've been talking about. The constant image of black dogs as aggressive villains creates an unconscious bias. People may perceive them as more dangerous, even if they aren't aware of it. When you combine that stereotype with the fact that black is a common coat color in many breeds, shelters often have a higher number of black dogs, which can make them seem less unique to potential adopters. While awareness campaigns and dedicated rescue efforts have made incredible progress, challenges remain, especially for black dogs of certain breeds, like pit bulls, who face a double stigma. Initiatives like professional photography sessions and social media campaigns are making an enormous difference. But the core issue begins with the stories we tell. We've seen how a simple observation, that the bad guy's dog is always black, is tied to a chain of cause and effect stretching from Hollywood back through centuries of folklore, ending in a very real crisis for animals today. The cinematic image of the menacing black hound wasn't created in a vacuum. It was born from ancient legends of spectral beasts and omens of death. This narrative, reinforced over and over on screen, has shaped our perceptions and created a subconscious bias that has left countless loving, gentle dogs waiting in shelters just because of their fur. They're being judged not by their personalities, but by a shadow cast by superstition. The curse of the black dog isn't supernatural. It's a mirror reflecting our own fears and the biases we absorb from the stories we consume. The problem isn't the dog on the screen, it's the prejudice that it perpetuates. Do you agree that black dogs are often portrayed as villains on screen? Do you believe Hollywood bias exists? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. So, the next time you're thinking of adding a dog to your family, or even just scrolling through adoption sites, we urge you to make a conscious effort to see past the color of their coat. Challenge the trope in your own mind. Look past the shadow and into the eyes of the kind dog waiting there. You might just find that the most devoted, gentle, and loving friend is the one you almost walked past. The power to break this curse isn't in myth or magic. It lies in our ability to change our perspective, to tell a different story, and to give every dog the chance they deserve. Make sure you watch our other video about black cats forever being associated with Halloween called Why Are Black Cats Evil or Bad Luck? Watch it next. Thank you for being here with us today as we discussed Hollywood black dog bias. We want to hear from you in the comments. We hope we have shed some light on a tragic situation that often sits in plain sight, but is often unseen. See you in the next video.